going on, Trail Believers? So what we have here is an episode I recorded on the second day of SPX this year, back in September-ish. It's with Richie Pope and Chris Kindred, two of my newer friends that I know from Richmond, Virginia. Yeah, we just talked basically about some comics, illustration, making art people, going to cons, just a whole bunch of things like that. Just a free-form conversation. My man Ron is there, who's all at Small Press Expo, which is a good show. If you would like to follow these people on Twitter, Chris Kindred, his Twitter is @It's Kindred, and Richie Pope is @RichiePope. They both have websites, basically their names.com. So chriskindred.com, richiepope.com. I know Richie Pope has a Tumblr, richiepope.tumblr.com. These people on the Instagram, you can use Google as a tool, my friends. You can follow me @Julian Lytle, LYTLE, on just about every single social network. If you do like the show, give it a review on iTunes. I don't know if Google Play Music has a review system, but if they have one, do it. SoundCloud, leave comments if you like it. Share it around. Much appreciated. When you see it on Tumblr, add that note, reblog, all that. Hope you enjoy the episode. Have a fantastic day or night. Peace.
Start dancing, ho.
Sentient and evolve into a species. I expected nothing less from.
That's mild to Forge.
Yeah.
Forge. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he actually.
I'm still mad his comic about his ant comic overshadowed my ant comic.
You're like, fuck.
Because my ant comic was first.
I did the first ant comic.
It did. I was the originator.
He did a colony. He had a whole world. He did the world building. I was like, damn, man.
My shits are aliens, so I ain't trying to show the colony.
Yeah.
I don't even want people to know that much about where they come from.
You never heard the backstory?
They're all
Word.
It's 20 plus years I've been drawing these guys. I've been drawing them since I was 14. 36.
The boy got an Ants expanded universe.
Yeah, yeah. There's everything in my head.
Ants universe.
Are you sitting right here, right?
Nah, you sit there. It's all good.
I kind of like that she really roughly cut these.
Yeah.
Because her drawings are so good, it's it doesn't really matter. Because if she was whack, people are like, oh, look at this shittily made book.
That's the thing with the small press and the independent comics like that is you see these very interesting ways of production and carrying out their idea. They get it out. Because sometimes they don't conform. They don't have to conform to the market.
Yeah.
As our good friend Ron here struggles with.
Yeah, a little bit. But
at times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The conservatism of the market.
Yeah.
On which they're sold.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I see something like that, whether it's intentional or not, I think about when you listen to some really crusty, something maybe the RZA production, or listening to Sonic Youth or something, or someone where the element of the record or the element of
the pop.
Yeah, well, you know, like crispy, like,
right, yeah. Take a little background.
Yeah,
stuff.
and like the roughness around the book is kind of like the material is part of the presentation.
I think about that Death album.
Oh
Yeah.
The
only Death album.
I was like, how like which other? There's another one.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, you've been holding out.
I thought you meant like about like the theme of death in general. I was like, well, there's so many.
Yeah, well, they didn't have like in that case, right? It's kind of like when I think people started to get coincidentally into like the Stooges again. I feel like in the 90s, I heard like there was a rush for the amps that they used to use, you know, because they wanted to make that sound. It's funny, they both like from Michigan.
That's also very interesting because now we're in such a digital age is that there's probably a filter in the program to make the sound of those amps versus the 90s where it's like, yo fam, we gotta go in a van
to Michigan.
We gotta find these amps because there's no way we can get this sound unless we get these amps or this room.
Well, like there's, you know, I don't know, I'd argue that, I mean, I think visually we're further than we are, I think, audibly in terms of recreating some things. Like I feel like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like it's easy to trick me now with like some of those brushes and shit.
Yeah.
And it's like with sound. Like when I hear sound, I'm like, I mean, and it depends on what you're playing it on too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think maybe you could trick somebody with a really good setup. But
if
like,
you have the actual
headphones,
good,
I'm like, nah,
if you're with a good audio setup, I think that's a lot because everybody now listens to things with, you know, terrible earphones or headphones. Hence why losing the headphone jack doesn't really matter. But
is that why people were complaining about that?
Let's not get started into the IT thoughts of Julian on why people are freaking out about some shit they don't give a fuck about because they wear shitty white shitty white headphones that means you're a fucking target to get robbed in the street.
God.
But
You say the white ones?
yes.
Those are, you know how I think about that? Is like it reminds me of what the music sounded like. Is how I think about when I'm using like bad headphones. It's not like, you know, I'm completing the sound, like the feeling of it. It's not like I'm really enjoying the audio. You know,
it's like, but yeah, I think
the memory how you like how you did listen to that.
Exactly. Yeah. Just a little bit, you know.
Yeah, but I had to say, like, you're right with the visual stuff. Like, yo, that Kyle T. Webster dude changed the game. Man.
He put on a demo last week, and he was just making a canvas. He was like, all right, so instead of getting a paper texture, you could just do this. And he used like 3 different brushes, basically replicated paper texture, cut off the rough edges. That shit looked clean.
Like he just made the canvas texture and
he
just
made
like
the
paint
canvas
on top.
texture and then just started painting. Painting, air quotes.
He made the canvas.
In the computer.
He threw the canvas texture on there too.
Oh damn.
Oh, word.
Like in terms of like just having the skill of just like he knows Photoshop. I thought I know Photoshop. I've been using Photoshop since 1996.
This man made Photoshop.
Like this dude, I think he's doing shit with Photoshop. The Adobe people's like, yo, fam.
Yeah.
But when did he start though? Maybe he didn't start with the same limitations embedded in his head though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe he started after and he was like, oh, I can do all this stuff.
Well, I know when he works on something, he's like working for like months and months. So he'll post something like 6 months before the brush comes out. He's like, it'll just post out of context like something coming, and it looks like amazing. Like, yo, are those like those digital brushes? He doesn't say what they are because he's trying to like make sure he gets it right. And then he's like, okay, and then he like releases it. So it's pretty cool because it kind of leads up to like, yo, what's like the next thing?
Then you just go ahead and get that. You go to Gumroad, put your little account information in, and be like, cop, pay what you want. Oh, I'm just go ahead and get this and this new brush that I pay what I want. Wow.
It ain't pay what you want no more.
Yeah.
It ain't pay what you want no more.
This little dog, he'll drop like a one random brush and I'll be like, wow. And I just, I can get like 3 of those.
You ask what is it afterwards, you're like, what was that? Okay, cool, I'll use that, yeah.
I'll be looking at my list and be like, I forgot which one I just bought.
That matter.
Okay.
Hey, look, Photoshop needs to catch up and put like a little like highlight bar on whatever tool preset you're using.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if I could color it. Because I use
I wish there was just the little like windows you could just like quickly drag. Like, okay, I want to move this around instead of like opening and editing on.
Yeah.
It's almost like trying to catch up what he's doing. They're like, okay, well maybe we need to make this more streamlined so people can like.
They might, know.
That's why Adobe loves him right now.
Yeah, they need to do an update anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Does he work in any other? Is he just working in Adobe? Does he ever work in any other like?
Oh yeah, he
Was it?
he teaches
is that
watercolor?
No, I mean like does he work in any other like
I
brand?
think he does stuff with manga, doesn't he?
No,
I feel like he made a specific brush set.
Sketchbook Pro.
Yeah, he made like
a set.
Yeah.
he did that for like a promotion.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was like,
They need to
he's
snatch
going back
them
to
up, yo.
Yeah.
They need to, yo.
I don't know. I'm afraid of that because I mean it's already kind of happening on his end, but like once they get him, they're gonna make those brushes so much more inaccessible.
Yeah.
Almost like these are only available through the new Photoshop program that you have to buy to make sure you have them.
Because right now they're more like kind of like on some, you know, like
on some freelance like contractual.
Shit. Yeah, no, more not even like that. More just kind of like okay, this is what like in terms of building their brand. I think it's more important for them at this point to kind of be like, this is like the freedom we give you to express yourself as an artist. And here is like Kyle T. Webster, like an amazing guy who's only working or who primarily works with Adobe.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like Adobe, Apple, they're selling the idea of people creating with their stuff more than trying to make money directly from, because like people steal it so much.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's like this, you know, people who actually do buy it. Like I think in terms of them getting that out, like kind of like, oh, you're a designer, everyone's an artist, like everyone can use this. And I think he's a great example of someone who's kind of taken what they have and like.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff on Twitch. They put a lot of people out. They have them do their little Twitch videos doing things. Adobe really, they're really fostering their community, especially since they moved to a subscription model versus let's say before, like when Creative Suite was first dropping, and you'd be like, when you was really have to be like, either I'm eating for real off this brick, or you be putting on that ski mask and you be out there like, yo, I need that master suite though. Like I need that.
I might have stay on CS 3 or something.
Where the code's at?
Yeah, that's one of his little song.
Yo, for real, you know, the statute of limitations is done for me. You know what I'm saying? I give them money every month. They can eat.
You're good.
Yeah, they got me.
I'm a happy customer. I call them up. They be like, "Yo, what's up?" They
Have a good old conversation.
He's like, "Oh, you know, you've been having this for a while." I was like, "Yeah, yes, sir." What's up? What's up with this tech support?
Check the account.
Y'all get your money.
Double check
every month. You know.
I'm definitely the old guy. Like I'm using like the old ones. You know?
7 using 7.
Yeah. Then when I but then I was
you sure you ain't using 5?
Yo, no. When I was sending it Prince of Cats to Jordan was like, I sent him an EPS.
Lord?
No.
He said Lord.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. Well, he's like, yo, you gotta recompress this. Like this EPS is actually too late for me to use. He does crazy work. Like he does amazing. He did all the weird design stuff.
Yeah, some people never upgrade. Like Lex, he still got an old computer with all the old shit on it because his plugins don't work. They killed the plugins. Yeah. They kill plugins now. Like
some people don't need them. What's that? Oh man, I feel like everyone mispronounces his name. Tatsuro.
Tatsuro Kiyuchi.
Yeah, that's probably right.
It's closer.
Yeah, it's probably close. He has all these like pre-made textures, like sponge kind of stuff. But he was like an oil painter before and looks very like 90s kind of like oil painting. His digital stuff is like really like impressionistic, and he'll use like a brush, like textures, and like erase to like carve out edges, and it's probably some of the best like digital work.
No doubt.
Yeah, so you shoot me that sometime.
Yes,
it's
very good.
Yeah, we'll need to look at that.
That's what we need too, is like a link list when you do your podcast.
Oh yeah,
like a list of.
Oh, we just talking. Sometimes we be talking too much. Like we and you, we talk. We just talking. There's like too much to like sit down and like take notes. We like walking around our houses and shit. Like,
you're like link list in this PDF, page 30.
Like yo, really pay attention. But yeah, that sounds dope. So I met you guys really in real life last year, and I gotta say, me and Ron talk about this all the time. We was at a point where we was on some really not fucking with comics.
Still on that point.
Yeah, to a certain degree, yeah. But it was good seeing like some new blood. Like we were walking around this for a minute. Some people maybe not. I guess people know me or don't know me, whatever. But I've been running around this shit like since 2004. This shit's fucking tiring.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you get to a point where it's like, he ain't like, yo, ain't no black people around here, man. It'll be like all the black people from the previous era, from like the 90s, and be like,
they jaded or fucked up.
They're or jaded, or they still buying. They still tight in the game, and they just like, yo, I don't want to do that shit no more. Like, I don't fuck with y'all no more. He tapped out way before I did. I keep dragging Ron back in the shit. Be like, yo, come on, stop faking. Like, this is how you eat. Come
on, man, you're a beast, man.
Like, yeah, like, come
you gotta
on,
do it.
But then, like, you know, seeing you guys online, and then like seeing the work, and then like meeting y'all, I was like, damn, some cool cash. Yo, I didn't know RVA was holding me down like that. Like, that shit's close. Like, to me, like, that shit's close. Like, yo, Richmond, Virginia ain't far.
Yeah,
DC.
It's kind of weird. It's almost like accidental because it was like it's like all these like levels, like almost literally like steps that like added up,
almost like micro generations.
Yeah. So like I was after so I got something new to micro generations.
Micro generations.
I was like post like once Sterling's career was like at its peak, and he was like, all right, I'm gonna teach a little bit, do some other things. I was like one of the first like couple classes after him, like from him teaching, and so like I knew like Kevin Roberts and Chris Visions was like above me, and I looked up to him. I didn't know him, and I was like, oh man, it's Chris Visions at the table. And I was like, he had like a solo show on like the student commons. I was like,
that's when it was Chris Johnson.
Yeah, it was Chris Johnson.
That stage name.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, Chris Visions. And then so like I sent him a message, and then like I remember we talked about it later. We became like actual friends. He's like, yeah man. It's like I felt really weird. Not like creeped out, but just like, oh, someone looks up to me.
And you're old.
Yeah. He's like, I'm like a year like older than you. You know, but it's just like that distance of like, I really love their work, and then you meet them, and it's just kind of like, that distance collapses, and like that's the theme that kind of kept going. So like, you know, Kevin taught it. Was like the governor school? Was that it?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Funny story.
Because that's how I met you too.
I went for a portfolio review that was at VCU back in 2009, and that's when I met Sterling. He gave me the best portfolio review out of a full day's worth of reviews. All of them were like really bad. He sold me on VCU, so I ended up going back home, finding people who like knew of Sterling, and that's when I hit up Kevin, and our relationship kind of grew from him critiquing me and basically teaching me art because I couldn't really draw back then. I was like 17, 18, and what happened after that? I'm freaking out right now. Not freaking out.
I'm blanking out.
That's fine. Okay, yeah. So he told me about everyone in Richmond, and he like put me in contact with a few people here and there, and eventually I ended up getting him a job at the Government School for the Arts back in Norfolk, where I was going to school. And
I didn't know it was reversed that way.
Oh. Yeah. And then over time, I ended up kind of meeting up with y'all like at his birthday party.
Oh yeah, I remember.
But then I've been like stalking y'all's blogs for like a couple of years by then.
But low-key also I was like, man, this guy's really amazing. But yeah, we all kind of just like centralized, and you know, like my class, and like I think when I met with like Chris Visions and like Eric Pfeiffer and Allison and a few others, and like we did like an anthology, and I think I remember we spent like way too much money on it. I don't know if we made anything back, but like it was such a big thing we did, and then like y'all end up doing like something that was even bigger and like through the school. So it felt like we were like, it's almost like an accident. Like, oh, okay, I guess we're all like dedicated to this kind of thing. Yeah. So you know, and then at a certain point in illustration, like the illustration comics were, I think, a little still separate at that point. And then Illustrators started to do comics, and then cartoonists started to like illustrate. And it was with Irene Gallo when I got my first job, and she was like, I think she started talking about RVA. She was like, yeah, it's a lot of cool artists down at RVA. Like I've seen like Sashir's work and this guy's work, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna say RVA as much as I can. Whenever like someone does something like, yeah, check out RVA artist so and so, man, RVA is really killing it. And I was like, share some of my stuff to the point where someone's like, oh yeah, RVA, I guess there's stuff down there. I was like, if I repeat it enough, you know. I was like, that's marketing. I guess you repeat it enough.
That's true.
You know, people start to ask questions.
What's that VCU slogan? I make it real.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like how you guys are completely like getting out of the system. Like, you know, there's a process. You know, there's a thing in which there's a lie in which they tell people with comics. You know what the game is.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the regular convention, you take your portfolio, you sit into this old cynical dude, and they tell you either you good or you're not.
He's supposed to shit on you.
Mm-hmm.
He's supposed to shit on you.
Humble you.
Yeah. Tell you your anatomy is poor.
Yeah.
Work on your anatomy.
The funny thing is, and this people gonna take this. Some people gonna take this some type of way. Like,
you need to hit the gym, nigga.
Yeah.
You work on your anatomy.
Yeah, wait a minute. Or your real anatomy.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes these people that like they ain't had a lick of art school and you done pass with A's from like people who done made like tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars and just drawing every day. They tell you,
like
straight,
the most awarded illustrator for like 5 years or something.
Like the Society Illustrator cast, and they your teacher. They be like, yo, you good? You know, they didn't taught you how to draw.
Yeah.
And clearly you passed. You got a degree, and then this comic dude who's only drawn superheroes is going to tell you you're not good, or an editor that don't know shit about art, or some random person that don't know nothing, and then you feel depressed. You still grind out.
Yeah.
And then it perpetuates. Then you work for free, blah blah blah. You know the deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you guys are coming at it. Cause you guys do a bunch of illustration work.
You gotta put trigger warnings on that.
Huh?
You gotta put trigger warnings on that.
Trigger warnings.
Before you tell that little part right there, trigger warning. I'm about to talk about going to comic book conventions and shit. You guys gonna be in your feelings by the end. Because that shit is harsh.
That's what I got the parental advisory sticker for.
Okay.
Yeah. A little automated warning. This podcast episode features
major key. but you guys do a lot of illustration work. Like illustration work that like I get envious of. Like, man, maybe I shouldn't stop. That shit is mad impressive.
Yeah,
but then you also still do these interesting comics. Like, I see you put up something on the nib all the time. I see you drop something. The other homies you probably don't something like, God damn, it feel like I gave up rapping and just like, oh, you want Puffy to come back out in the streets.
It's just doing a shuffle.
You know what I'm saying?
All the way back.
That way gotta come back.
Doesn't stop.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I stopped. You know what I'm saying? Like, but what is your thoughts on actually, like, why did you choose that? Like, why was it a plan to purposely reject the system, or did you just be like, yo, this wasn't even planned, we just do what we like to do?
Well, okay, for me, a lot of my story in college has been about survival. Like, all right, I worked mad part-time jobs.
That'll be some bars.
I got fired from 5 out of 7, quit the other 2, and I realized, like, yo, this isn't necessarily for me, and it took me a long time to get over that sense of shame, because, you know, a whole lot of people work part-time jobs, and they're like, you should be able to do what you don't want to do what you have to do. But I'm like, I can do that if I work hard enough. Like, you know, you can see something as attainable, and you work a little harder just to get to that point. So that kind of drove a lot of why I was hustling for illustration, and I didn't really care. I didn't really have the time or luxury to entertain people who were in my way. Like, there's gonna be some other lane open. I just got to go around this motherfucker telling me I'm not good enough under that person's standards. So when you're trying to eat, like, you don't have time for nobody's bullshit.
Yeah. Like, post school, I was like, I wasn't ready. Because it's immediately drop off. You're like, oh, school, okay. Like, teacher validation. Then, okay, graduation. And then you're like, all right, well, I still live next to the school. I still walk around, eat the same food. I have my same book bag, but I'm just not in class. And it doesn't hit you till a couple months later. You're like, I don't have a job. Like, I don't know what to do. So, like, I did caricatures, and I was like, it actually taught me a lot about just drawing fast and, like, dealing with people. And then eventually I worked at an art store, and I was like, I really just want to jump into illustration, because, like, it had been at that point almost 2.5 years out of school. I was like, because everyone keeps saying, like, oh, if you don't do it now, you know, it's not gonna happen. Like, you're young, you're like 23, 24, it's not gonna happen. So at a certain point, like, the art store we found was closing, and I was like, oh shit, now I'm not gonna have any job. So I was like, I guess I should just go for it now. Like, this is my chance between, like, this, find another job if I don't find one. And so, yeah, it literally just, like, it just happened to pick up at that point. I didn't have a job since, like, 2012, like a job. So, but after that, I mean, pretty much, like, comics was, like I read Hellboy and shit. Like, I actually got back into comics, because I think our art school wasn't necessarily, like, into, like, because our department head at the time was, like, not into comics.
Ironically enough, we had George Pratt at the
Oh
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And my intro, like to the department, was like, "Hey, this is George Pratt." I was like, "Oh shit, can't wait to have him." And it was like, "Oh, George Pratt left." I was like, "God damn it."
funny enough, we almost got Kyle Webster.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So
Yo, how old is Kyle?
Ageless.
timeless. How is he? Classic. A classic age. He's probably listening. He's gonna listen. He's
Yes.
thank you. Excellent. So, yeah, it's like, you know, I was like reading like the kind of more mainstream comics. Started reading like, you know, I think Vertigo stuff, like some other kind of slightly off kilter shit, and then I think it was, I can't remember who exactly, but I think it was part of SPX, and like someone put me on like indie comics. And I heard about like Michael DeForge and like Sam Alden, and I was like, yo, this is some weird shit. And I was like, I didn't know you could do comics like this.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing all the rest. You're like, there's like a whole world of this. Like, you can do whatever.
Like, this has been going on for years.
This has been going on, like Hernandez brothers. This has been going on for like decades. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And it was immediately like, well, I can probably do that too. So, cause you go to illustration school, you're like, well, I can draw, but comics is hard as fuck. But at least you're like, well, I feel like I can draw, so I'll just have to like draw harder to make these comics and make them in sequence. And, yeah.
I had to tell myself to go and get it myself. I had to tell myself to go and get it myself. Cause I got tired of waiting on everyone else. I had to tell myself to go and get it myself. I had to tell myself to go and get it myself. Big baby. Oh, 'cause ain't nobody gonna do it better than you. Oh, 'cause ain't nobody gonna do it better for you. Oh, 'cause ain't nobody gonna do it better than you. For you. Oh, no one can do you better than you. I had to tell myself to go and get it myself.
So man, I guess you know we're recording this at SPX, the 2016 version. How you guys feeling about it? How you guys feeling about the weekend and the response to your work?
It's a good show. I rolled out like a Batman pin off a Vegeta shirt.
Nice.
It was a little piece of like fan. You know, I like fan art. I like making fan art, but there are a lot of times where I don't really feel like drawing fan art. So like sometimes I'll pay homage in other ways. But
Batman.
yeah,
Prince
that,
Vegeta of the planet Vegeta, Prince of the Saiyans.
That pink polo.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, the pink shirt.
I almost came through in the pink polo. I couldn't order it in time though.
Yo, man, that would be. Oh,
That'd
if you
be
had
so
the pink
nice.
polo with Batman on
the
the back of
Batman.
it.
God.
Chris, how much for your shirt that you're wearing?
Yeah, right.
I'll buy that too.
I would have let it go. But yeah, this
Almost
has been
baby daddy.
This has been a good show though. I started tabling like 2 years ago, and I can really feel the sense of progression. Not only in confidence with my storytelling, but also with dealing with people, and it's really validating being a familiar face in a space like this. So you know, I'm really looking forward to more SPXs. I actually want to go home and like make a new comic right now. Like,
It's a cycle every time.
yeah.
You're like, SPX coming up, do I have some? And you'll see people you look up to, they're like, man, I didn't finish my thing, but like I have a shorter version or like a, and you're like, oh, that's people I look up to, and sometimes like they still struggle with like, trying to finish things.
Yeah.
But then like you go to the show and you're like, oh, the show's always amazing, and afterwards you're like, okay, now I want to like, it's that cycle of like, you know.
And I will say the most revealing thing about the show for me has been I no longer want to work toward a show, like treat the show as a deadline, but I want to make the comics for their own sake, with their own space to breathe. Yeah. So, yeah, I just want to make a whole bunch of shit. I'm going to say this right now, so I should probably listen to this to keep myself accountable.
Yeah,
But,
that's true.
yeah,
Like, yo, remember what you said?
I got receipts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, let me get my. When I upgrade my equipment one day, I hit the little button. That's what you just said.
Yeah. Well, what's wild is that some people be like, oh, I want like a comics tour, and I was like, you can do a comics tour,
Right?
But then like I feel what it's like because I've seen people here. Cause first you see people like SPX,
Yeah.
and I did TCAP. You see people at TCAP, but then I saw people who were at TCAF here, and like they follow like the next convention. They're like, I was like, oh yeah. One person was like, oh yeah, I was the person at TCAF. I was like really nervous. I was like, yeah, I remember. And they're like, oh, I'm still a little nervous. I was like, whoa, what the?
So wait. Not people making books, but people buying shit.
Yeah, people just come to
like
the show.
They just go to.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
like someone was like from like Montreal, so she was like TCAF, you know, and then she came down here and got people to like draw like Pokemon in her book and all that. And so yeah, at that point I'm like, oh, it does feel like a tour because people do like follow people and follow like you know the scene.
You got comics roadies.
Yeah, like follow the scene.
I should say I don't expect it because you know in the mainstream space there's like the cosplayers and stuff and they go around to different shows. Like I'm like them. That's like an entirely different world. That's something we don't even totally understand.
Yeah, indie stuff feels less like collectors.
Yeah.
Like you don't really feel like people are like what do you have? It feels more like I want that specific
it's like
thing.
They're chasing experiences and not commodities.
Yeah. That's right. That's what it sounds like. It's like they're following around the artists.
The boy. Yeah, but it's funny because I think Chris actually tabling like a year longer than I have. Because I went in 2014. I was like, I'll print this book. I had like Infinity Block, and I was like, I'll print it from home. I have a home printer. I can print 100 copies of it. And I printed like 6 copies before the ink ran out. I was like, oh my god, I have 6 copies, and I was like, yo, is this the end of me? Is this the end of like something? I didn't know how like accepting or forgiving comics was, like indie comics. So I brought it, and people that I looked up to were like, hey man, do you have Infinity Block?
Oh, actually, funny story about that. My first table, people were coming to my table like, hey, I was also carrying your book that day.
I was like, can you hold something?
Like, here's my number. Let me know when Richie Pope gets here.
Like before the show.
Yeah.
I never even gone to any convention. Like tabled it all, and I was like, "Wait, what? But this is you need to see what it looks like though. Like it's not very."
That's why I'm calling like comic book ASAP mob.
Yeah,
come out of nowhere like they don't even know me. But I ain't even been to the convention. They like yo, here's my number. Yo, put me on blast. Text me when he walks in the door.
I still got this dude's number.
That's right. You must still have the number. So like that was, but then after that I was like, oh, so like even though it wasn't how I wanted, people still wanted it. So after the show, I made like the real version. That was like gone. And the next year, I got NSPX, and that felt like another jump. And this year feels like, if anything, I was thinking like
after being invited.
Yeah, if anything, it kind of feels like I kind of feel like the bigger world of comics is like can feel sort of like prove that you can like that you're strong enough to open this door. Whereas like indie comics feels like there's just like a door frame, and you're like, oh hey, what's going on? And they're like, hey, what's up? And it's like, oh, just walk on. You're like, can I come in? Like, oh yeah, sure. You're like, okay. And you're new, but like eventually you meet people and you're like more accustomed to like, just walking into the room.
Yeah.
So what was the experiences? I guess I should say difference from like say the TCAF this, and then like I saw you guys at Heroes in which we ate the most epic barbecue meal.
Was it better than your mom's mac and cheese?
Yo, yes,
it was.
I can't on record say that. But it was very good.
I will on record say it.
Mom might listen to this.
She's like, oh hell no, you gotta go.
Eating mac and cheese for the rest, like 3 months after. That stuff.
Yeah. Mom, this is a whole plate of different mac and cheese. Yeah, I'm trying to test some new stuff out.
New spices, new cheeses up in there.
Are these good?
Be in the lab.
I ate entirely too much that day.
Oh, you had 2.
Well, your eyes went from like this to like that.
When I finished it.
Yeah, and you're kind of slow too. You're like, I'm gonna take a break, but
I came back. Like,
you came back like,
ain't no wasting that. Well, yeah. How does it feel? Like I enjoyed that show, even though I don't enjoy traveling.
Mm-hmm.
It was good energy. I didn't make much money there.
What show was that?
Heroes.
North
Carolina.
Yeah.
It's just like all artists. It's the only joint what I see was just like,
oh wow. Okay.
You see maybe like one little dealer joint where like people selling old comic books, like literally old comic books, and then there's like the art store.
Yeah. I went there. I was like, oh, I need some Bristol board. Oh, there's an art store around the corner in the con. Okay.
Yo, I bet the dude.
SPX do need to take notes on that one though.
Yeah, they would sell out.
That's the new hustle though. That's the new hustle. When I first started, when I first saw that happening, was one of them early New York Comic Cons, and they had a dude from Holbein here. And yo, I still got shit from that whole my joint. He was blessing me with like
I feel like
samples.
Copic was pretty early on the scene.
Copic was really good on there, but like yo, the whole bind move because they had the ill. You know, the whole bind ain't that easy to get. And he was blessing me with like the samples because I was like, yo, y'all need to go to the whole bind joint. He was like, yo, you bringing me business. Bless. I still got some crazy acrylic shit that I ain't seen.
Yeah, I have watched stuff from like when like my job was over, and like I just got some. I was just still sitting there, like just almost full tubes of gouache. The whole bind.
I like that stuff though too. I like all the packaging and branding for the whole bench shit.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's really nice. Well done.
Yeah, excellent.
Sensational.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. TCAF was because you didn't do TCAF.
Yeah.
But like TCAF was really, really, really like book specific. Like this is comics festival, so I don't think I really saw any like actual merch, like other than maybe like some prints and like postcards. But it was literally like all books, and it's in a library and it's free. So like people buy the books and they immediately just go sit down and read them. So it's very like a book centric like show, which is pretty dope. And it's kind of like, at least from what I got, it's kind of like surrounding the scene of like the kind of newer burgeoning like Toronto comic scene. It's like Kayama Press and like all the artists like surrounding that. So that was cool to see. And I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. Like, so and SPX is like pretty similar. Like it's a little more open to kind of like people who don't necessarily make comics as their main thing.
Yeah.
You know. And then like
it's grown into that. When I first came here, it
Oh,
was
word.
really like it was all like stapled together books. It wasn't even like any.
it was almost like a zine fest kind of thing.
And then like all the time it was like, oh yeah, here's Top Shelf, and then it's like, oh, these are actual like physically printed hardcover books. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah, I saw an old video and they seemed like they were. It was like 2003. They were like in
the
like
first
a.
year I went. It was like in a different
Oh, okay.
hotel. It was
like a smaller room.
Yo,
Like,
it was crazy. It was
Yeah.
just and now it's like
Large press expo.
kind of like you see artists doing good work, but they got like we make my own T-shirts. We got a little this and that. Like y'all little Brandon Empires right now. Like buy the mine. Yeah, but it's like it's interesting like how much it's changed in the time I've been going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, damn, this is like low because it was a period where I think it was like 8 and the West Coast was big, and I've never been. But that used to be like.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
And then like all of a sudden it was like Mocha 8 and SPX, and all of a sudden it was just like SPX is top, and then like Mocha, and like nobody we talking about 8 no more.
Oh yeah.
It's like I guess I ain't gotta go to the Bay for that.
And now we got CALA Comic Arts Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Trying to bring it back.
It's kind of like I guess that's like the West Coast version, like Comics Art Brooklyn.
Probably.
Yeah.
Really, the joint I kind of wanted to do, I ain't had the money or the planning. Was I wanted to be like the only comic dude at Complex Con.
Yeah,
because I knew that shit. Because I know that shit would be the fucking move.
I didn't know that existed.
Yo, that shit looks like nothing but Hype Beast Central, but
I mean,
who's going for that Hype Beast audience stuff?
Yeah.
I'm trying to go for that audience. Like I feel like I want an audience that would subsidize like my other work. Like I like to do work for people who are gonna take time to look at it and really get into it.
Mm.
But at the same time, it's like I want to make like beautiful things too. And I feel like I don't know. Also, I want to be around people who want to talk about the work like in depth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
True.
And I feel like I don't know where I fit in. And like when I was coming up, I used to just love design magazines. I used to love picking through things like that. And I felt like the audience at Complex Con, not a lot of them. I mean, a lot of people will just be there like to buy expensive things,
Or see like Lil Yaki and somebody else,
but like
there might be people who's like, yo, I'm gonna get that special $300 finest t-shirt quality cloth with the special print limit to like 50.
But Murakami Takashi's on the board or something. So I'm like,
it's a serious like.
And I feel like we should be in that space. Like instead of people who are just kind of like about the surface of what we do, like some of us should be in that space. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna fucking cake up off the spectacle of telling stories and anime and all of that shit, like why? Like we should be in that space.
Just be there.
You know what I mean? So anyway, but maybe that's like.
Well,
I don't think it's so. I don't think it's impossible. Not at all.
Yeah. People here, it's like I don't know, like Lex is gonna be there.
Of course, Lex is gonna be there.
So
this is a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah.
He's a great designer and artist and a multitude of things. He also keeps people up too late because he doesn't start his day until midnight. Or some shit. Like,
hey man, just woke up.
Let's go out. Let's go out. It's like 12:30. He's like, yo, I'm just about to step out the house. Like, fam.
Full of energy.
I'm an old man, fam.
That's the actual hours.
Hours. Who up though? Not even smash that like button. Like, open the door, nigga. Like, let's go out. You know, like, real.
Smash the door handle.
No.
Whoa, man, I'm asleep.
Nah, ain't no sleeping. Like, man, I gotta charge up when I'm done with me around Lex for like
Smash
period of time. Like,
smash that Uber button.
Like, fam, I got a square job, fam.
Not tonight.
I know. People be like, why don't you come back to New York? I was like, low key, because y'all keep me up too late.
Because I cannot sleep.
Andy wants to go to sleep.
My bedtime is 10. Y'all don't want to even end until 5:30 in the morning.
Nah, he ain't no joke.
Yeah, that's true. That was the thing. I was like, man, I guess it's time to go to sleep. And it's just some plan will come like, hey, do you guys want to go to a concert? I'm like, it's like 2:30.
We already there.
It's like, I guess we're here. He said, what? Oh, just like in New York, we were like, when we're staying busy, it's always like something going on at any time of the day.
3:30 would be early.
For some people, yes. Sometimes it's not even lit until.
That's what happened like the other time. I was like, yo, I'm going to bed. Like, it's like, yo, you going to bed? It's like 3 o'clock. It's like, yo, the sun is not up and you're going to bed?
Damn. There's only one person that I think he gets away from like teasing Ron in the Instagram DMs. It's fucking Lex taking trolling pictures like this nigga sleep.
He's swamp cam like shit.
Yeah, he's terrible. He's the worst. He left that message on my drawing board that time. I don't know if you've seen that shit. I don't know why.
It was so wrong. He wrote like. He was something like, it's also bully shit, like, hey, why you sleep though? Like, it was so terrible.
I'm like, come on, man. Like,
and then he puts it on
Wake up, nerd.
Then he put on Instagram.
No, I actually put that on
the chat. Oh,
that's
you.
fine,
But then he was like,
yo, he's a bully though.
You know what I'm saying? Don't call him when the sun is out. But yo. Like,
don't call him when the sun is up though, for real.
Yeah, he's one of the best. I took personally, low key, I say this shit all the time. I think he's one of the best designers of the generation.
Yeah, he's great.
Like, straight up.
Nice.
Like, I watch mad shit, and then people won't be talking about him.
Damn.
Yeah.
They probably already talking about him, but like in 20 years or so, he's already. I already have to like tape shit for him, like when he's in like fucking Art Basel, like yo, VH1 about to do this interview, yo. I don't got this, like yo, I got the DVR, I got it. Like, I got you. I did the VH1 blah blah, yeah, yo, I'm about to be on CNN International real quick. They're gonna talk to me, like I got you.
It's funny to think about it, man. Like everybody.
He's low key the most famous dude.
But it's like motherfuckers still worried. You know what I mean? Like that's what's crazy to think about. Is like, yo, you can get to a certain place in a certain position, and it's just like, yo. It makes me wonder about.
It's still a struggle. It's just
how can we sustain like creating brilliant and amazing things when it's like, a lot of it's free. Like, it's I don't know what to do. You know?
Yeah.
This era which we're in, yo. Likes are given a plenty.
Yeah.
But likes don't equal dollars.
Yeah. You remember Chris when what was it, Sam Weber in his podcast? He was like, I kind of feel. I think he said something like feeling, even though he's like at this point in his career, he kind of has like this anxiety that's all gonna come crumbling down.
Syndrome.
Yeah, that's just like it's just gonna like all collapse. Like eventually it might.
Or they're gonna expose him for a fraud.
Yeah,
like take his money away.
Yeah. I heard about that, like fraud syndrome or something, like, or you don't belong in the room or whatever. Yeah.
You don't feel good enough.
I don't feel that way. I'm just like, where the checks at? Like I get in the room, I'm like, yo, I put in work. I was up.
Yeah,
you're right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's always someone else in the room I can be like, who are you in the room though? You know what I mean? Like, that's not fair, but like that's but that's like ultimately it helps me out. It's like, why are you in the room?
Yeah.
Like when he leaves though, I'm like, why am I in the room? As long as he's there, I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, though I can't really subscribe to imposter syndrome because like the work. I mean, we feel that shit,
Yeah. I do have the anxiety of like it's something gonna like snatch it away or something.
Okay, yeah, true.
Well, cause like we're listening to a podcast and it was like when Sam was talking to John Hahn, and he was talking about like biters. We were like, oh, what?
Like, what? That's about biters in illustration? Oh, man.
He was perked up.
And yeah,
I ain't gonna lie. I keep it 100. I'll make sure that sometimes when I'm drawing, it's like, yo, I'm gonna use this different brush. Because I know Richie be using these joints.
Yeah.
So I ain't, because I know about biters. I got bitten by a giant wolf.
Just took a piece.
Yeah.
Damn T-Rex.
But yeah, I'm like, yo, biters, yo. I see the judge people be biting. I see people be biting.
See nobody drawing on their picture from my crew. I don't want to see nobody.
Yeah, I'm wondering because like I still feel pretty fresh to like comics, but yeah, in illustration it's kind of like it's almost like understood like unless someone's like really aggressively taking like physical like pieces like oh that's your entire concept and like it's almost like,
it's like giving an illustration, right? Like,
yeah, it's almost like
you discovered something.
Yeah, it's almost like you people kind of know but you don't really say anything.
Everybody
knows. I was like, man, it's like I don't know what that's like. Because, like, illustration is not like, 757.
Yeah.
like someone's biting your shit, like, yo, that dude over there, that's the dude biting my stuff. And I was like, yeah, you're a biter. And they, like, say something. Or comic illustration's like, you don't want to...
You want to be a little careful.
Little people will be like, I mean, I definitely see it, but, like, it's not enough to really...
Yeah,
like,
I think comics is open up biting. There's people be like, up and up. Like, I'm going to draw the shit you just drew over again.
Yeah.
And sell it. In front of your face.
Across from you at the convention.
Well, yeah, there's motherfuckers who will take people's art, throw a filter on that shit, print it, and sell prints.
Yeah.
Like,
I've seen those videos.
Yo,
the people like confronting them, and they're like offended. They're like, I saw this art. Is that this cartoonist? They're like, huh? Like, no, this is original art. They're like, no, it's not. That's the cartoonist, man. You ripped him off, buddy. And the guy's like,
how?
The guy's like, okay, and he's just looking at him like. When someone gets caught, they can't say anything, so they just stare. And the guy's like, "How's it feel, man? How's it feel to rip people off, man?"
I love this voice too.
That's how he talks. He's like, "How's it feel to rip people off, man?" And it's sad because like his son's at the table too.
Oh wow!
And so he's like, I think he like starts like like your son's here, and
shit.
He's seeing that. I'm like, yo, they might fight. They might physically fight because he's going to like probably dad mode, like my livelihood. It might just tackle him. And he's like, "How's it feel, man? How's it feel?" The guy's just like I'm not gonna talk to you. I'm like, this is not what I'm trying to be around.
Let me see that. Let me find that.
Yo,
there's plenty.
I'm surprised you haven't seen
I forgot the names. There's like a couple confrontation videos.
Wow.
Yo.
And dude's like, yeah, so here's my art.
I know an artist named Buzz.
Bad.
He be making it a point. Like he been in there for like mad years, like decades. And when he goes to some of these like bullshit cons, he be posting like, I saw this dude. I talked to like the convention organizer. He's like, that's his shit now. Like fucking this shit up. And he's kind of like a beefy like Asian dude too. Like, he will fuck somebody up. Like I wouldn't want to fight him. I don't care if he's like 50. He's like, I ain't trying to fight.
Like he just grabbed the prints. That's mine.
You're
not gonna stop me. This is my work. Thank you.
I kind of want to just like, if I find out, I just want to like go up behind their table and sit down, like, take the money, and be like, smash.
Like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm signing my prints.
Right.
Hi.
Or like, look. All right, how much did you make today? I need like 40% of that. You can keep doing this, but like I need the money.
I need my cut, and thank you.
Yeah, and when you finish, right, I'm right over here.
Some Bob shit.
Work
like,
for me.
Who told you to sell this territory?
Yeah. It's like you hired yourself for me.
Right, exactly. If
you did the work.
Like give me some, I even give you, you know what I mean?
Like you
I don't know how many filters you use, 40 to 70%. You know what I mean?
You
might look and be like, oh, that's kind of, I like what you did with those colors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you got a little flourish there.
I ain't seen that before.
For your own shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Repost on my blog and shit. You know what I mean?
Look at this.
Yo. Oh, did y'all ever watch that movie? F is for Fake.
Yes.
That shit is wild.
Yeah, because it was for
Santoro's
class.
Oh, okay.
That messed me up, man.
Yeah.
That was so good.
When Picasso, like when Wells is talking about, Picasso. He's like, well. Someone asked Picasso, like, what would happen if someone created a work of art that was so close to what you've done that, like, no one could ever tell? And he's like, well, it's a Picasso. I was like,
that's good.
Word.
Yeah.
Word. It's like Andy Warhol signing those soup cans. You know what I mean? It's like, yo.
But it just be me though. Yeah, it just be me.
You know?
You so good. You such a good me. Like you're my hand.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you know, what I'm saying? I'm so powerful. You're my hand.
Yeah.
I don't be like when I copy shit over on the computer. I'm not like, damn it, computer, stop copying my shit. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
Siri, high five.
Right. But they're not eating off of it though. The computer's not collecting a check off of your work.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the
For
only
real, some of these bodies don't be collecting the check.
Really?
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like
That's such a sad thing. You said it. It's so sad.
but it's true. Poor them. But it's weird when they are collecting the check. And you're like
So you eating now?
from like similar or like the same client, you're like, why didn't you just hit me up? Like, cause you know me.
Wow.
And like, you would. It's almost like you can look at it and you'd be like, yeah.
Oh, word.
It's like you look at it and be like, oh, okay, that kind of looks like my stuff. Okay, that's clearly stuff I did like 2 years ago. And then you're like, but I'm like right here. And you're like, oh, okay.
But like you got my email.
Yeah, it feels weird. It's almost like I do know that in the past when I was a student, there was like people that were like, oh, someone's a biter for this person. But it was almost like when someone's become such a big celebrity in illustration, their rates are like, because they're not going to accept like really bad paying jobs. So then, people might just go for like, what reminds them of that person, but it's just like, oh, they might take a cheaper.
Right.
And from working on the other side of that, seeing what visual editors, art directors, whatever you want to call them, make these decisions, that's very valid. They'll be like, oh, we can't hit up such and such, or they probably won't be interested, or what I'm saying, we just can't pay them, like our budget's so low. So let's look at some up and coming talent.
That kind of looks like them. So
yeah.
I think it's as simple as that.
I mean, go less though.
It's like producers and rappers. Like they sound kind of like.
Yeah.
You sound like kind of like.
It's like, oh, this is kind of the wave. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's like mini waves.
Because at the end of the day, the
designer. You get designer. You really want Future, but you can't afford Future.
Yeah.
You can't afford Future Metro Boomin.
Yeah.
But yo, that Panda song though, let's go call designer. In other words, Kanye couldn't sign Future, so he found designer.
I think
to hood up the podcast.
Yeah.
I think I'm talking myself out of like a career because like I've definitely had a few people ask me, about artists and like they talk about the budget they have and I'm like, well, I actually can't recommend any artist's work for that amount of money. And like I tell them, I mean, sometimes they're friends, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we got this project and like we're wondering if you have any, and I'm like, like, and I'm thinking about my peoples and I'm like, yeah, you don't have a budget for illustration yet. You know what I mean? Like you don't, it's not a working wage. And I'm kind of like, yo, if I feel like the pie is, maybe there's just like way too many slices in the pie, I'm like, well, some of y'all need to just not get pie, or you gotta figure out how to make more pie, because like you can't be paying these people like these small amounts. And I feel bad for, like, I feel like it's perpetual. Like, so does it mean that every time an artist gets to a point where they can like demand a working wage, that like then the fresh crop comes in and like they struggle and strive for like however many years, so they get to a point till like they're kind of waged out of getting work? I'm like, nah, B, like at some point it's gotta stop. Pay those young motherfuckers like real money too. Like maybe you get to a certain point where you do garner like, okay, I'm a boss, like I just do fewer jobs, but like of a higher higher price point. But I'm like, some of the stuff I'm like, you can't pay them that. You can't pay them that.
Yeah.
Like, and for one, what is that? I mean, for them surviving, also like dignity wise, like how are you gonna? It's like they're paying you to do the illustration. Like after what it costs for them to live and make that work, they're paying you. I'm like, I don't know.
Actually, I see students like graduating, freshly graduated or about to graduate. Shanna's a really good example. She's been getting like really good gigs, really respectful clients, and no shitty wages. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that frees up the artist to make their best work, of course. So yeah, it's good to see people doing that. It's just not happening enough.
Yeah, I don't know how it is like outside. Well, I mean, I actually get a glimpse of what it's like inside like the New York illustration scene, which is dope. But I think because it's so close to like
this is the epicenter of things. At least it feels that way. I think people are like, even though older, illustrators are like, hey, let's not take low-paying jobs. Younger ones are like, well, I need one.
Right.
So there's always be someone like, fuck it, I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, I took that. Then maybe got into a show. Okay, now I'm in illustration. Now I'm like, it's almost like this. Sometimes a scene itself can kind of like conflict with the actual like. We need to be getting like
What's
respected,
best, Yeah, what's best for us as a whole.
Yeah.
The hunger to get on sometimes makes people make choices that's not good for the band.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of that has to do.
And they exploit. They
Yeah.
exploit that shit.
Yeah.
That's like a weakness of the community, And that's in that case, it's like, we
Also,
are.
the rent's too damn high.
There you have it. But also, yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. But that's also like a problem with community. You know what I mean? Like, that's a sickness that we have there. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I feel like OGs should be able to like, like if someone's good enough to get in, it's like I almost feel like we should be able to support them.
You know why? Because
I mean?
there's no apprenticeships anymore.
Yeah, that's another.
Like back in the day, like some art teachers would talk about, they had like apprenticeships. Like, so you gonna work for me? I'm doing all the dope ass jobs. I'm getting the big bucks, so I'm gonna pay you to be my master student. So you ain't gotta struggle as much out there. You ain't gotta take the whack jobs, because then you gonna come out like, oh, I apprentice under blah blah blah. You vetted already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but that shit's gone. The modern era destroyed that. In the 80s and 90s, fucking blew that shit up. In the 2000s. 2000 really.
Yeah, there was like a couple more apprenticeships I heard about, like when I was in school. There was like certain students that were like becoming, what was it, like Sterling's apprentices? It was like, yo, you gotta be a Sterling apprentice. And I was like, yeah, maybe one day I'll be an apprentice. And I never was.
I got here, same.
Yeah, I never was. I was like, oh man, I guess that's it. It's like they were around so much like good stuff and they learned so much. I was like, well, guess I gotta go do something else. But it's kind of like on some accidental apprenticeship where like it was already happening. I think he was like, no, you're good. At a certain point he's like, no, like, go. Like, I think you know what you're doing. Like,
same.
Yeah.
When the dog is like, no, the dog's gotta leave. He's like, no, get away from me, Comet. Don't follow me, Comet.
Yeah. You don't have a leash anymore.
No, really, stop taking my style, Comet.
No, you need to go, man. It's not gonna be good for you. You gotta get away from it.
Oh my goodness.
Good shit though.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. The closest thing we have to that are those like third party courses, like say like a master class or some sort of academy, and
That shit always costs money.
yeah, it's always prohibitively expensive.
Like, it costs money versus an apprentice where you would actually be able to like live or even live with the artist and live with them. No, I gotta pay you extra $15,000
Yeah.
to get
That's the
a
difference.
master
to be around you.
They found a new hustle, like
Yeah.
dude, because they work ain't getting as what it used to get. So yo, I can
Take
do
it from these
ill
kids.
teach and not teach. I'm just like the master. Like I can't wait. I need to figure out that hustle. I need to get better at something.
Last night I was talking to a cartoonist, and they were like, well, after doing this other work and going back to teaching, they were like, after seeing what you can do, like they just didn't feel ethically right about going back to teaching. Because like they're like, yo, so I'm gonna actually teach this trade where these people is like, here I am as an adult, and it's like I'm doing actually pretty well. I'm pretty successful, and I'm struggling like to hold down this mortgage and all this. And they were like, I don't know if I can go back and have these kids coming in and being like, yeah, this is what you're doing, like this, that, and that. I was like, whoa, that's how I used to feel. But to hear it like corroborated, I was like, whoa. There's space though, like it's, you don't want to shit on anybody's dreams. There's like we have to crack it. Like, what is it? What is the method of generating that revenue to do like good work? I feel like, I guess we've watched the news organizations go through it. Like, I don't know, NPR, like, well, they sold out though, right? NPR, like,
I don't know if they sold out, but they found a way in which to have a strong revenue stream.
Very strong.
Like they
but
ship
weren't
out
they bought though? Like, didn't they?
They also beam out the other like major like.
Well, they've
radio.
been doing that.
They have member stations.
Yeah,
and
member
their dues are like
stations,
tens of thousands a year.
And those podcasts,
Among like
those
200.
podcasts gets
great.
millions of listeners. Like, there's a podcast shit where you hear people talk like, I got Exodus,
Was
and
it
then
15 million?
I went to the Hidden Brain event. And it was like, this show gets 10 million listens every episode. I was like,
How?
bruh. Like,
2 syllables.
like,
That's a lot of
there's
ears.
like white people listen to podcasts like that because clearly, like, yo, real talk.
Yeah.
Not to say nothing against my people, but you bring them NPR, they be like, all right.
Yeah.
They listen to regular radio.
Bro,
You talk to white folks, it's like, have you heard this on NPR? I was like,
All I know is 103 Jams, though.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Is
yeah.
this like the Breakfast Club or
Not
Yeah.
nothing criminal though. That's my shit. B.
Criminal?
Oh, you mean what's criminal? Yeah.
Oh.
But I'm just, there's so many different joints, and they
It's
just
the story
blew up.
though. You know?
Yeah.
I only heard
Is it like a
about
nonfiction?
NPR like
It's like a
2 years
nonfiction.
ago.
Yeah. they
Where?
talk about shit.
Like I've known about NPR like most of my life because
Yeah,
you know
that's
I'm in DC. I'm also the dude who's watching Charlie Rose when 15 or whatever. But like they was kind of like people wasn't really fucking public radio. Then all of a sudden it's like people be fucking public. Like podcasting is something for public radio that I don't think anybody understand because it's basically radio on demand. Like you listen to NPR and you like, oh, I miss my favorite show because like I did something else. But then you get to like podcasts came out, they put on their shit on podcasts and be like, oh, this shit I really like to fuck with, I miss it because I ain't, I don't listen to it, and be like, oh, this is what's up.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know what? Last thing.
I like the little table. All right.
Lightning.
What y'all listening to though?
Boy, yeah, this is a good year for music. I feel like.
Oh yeah.
That's true.
I mean, Chance the Rapper. That joint was good.
Good job playing No Problem last night though.
Got you.
Man, weirdly enough, like I really, really didn't like Travis Scott in the beginning. I was like, this is really just like not as good Kanye. I was at the time it was like 2010, like Dark Fantasy, and I was like, I don't know, man.
Birds in the Trap singing like my shit.
But then like Rodeo, I kept hearing like, oh, Rodeo's kind of good. I was like, it's good. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. So I played it and I was like,
When Antidote came on.
like I played it once. I was like, that I didn't skip anything. And I played it again. I was like, I think I kind of like this. And then I like loved it. I was like, yo, that song with Quavo was dope. I was like, he got Tory Moore on there. Like,
Yo, Apple Pie.
he had Justin Bieber on there and he was rapping. And I thought it was like Young Thug rapping or something. And I was like, I didn't hate this song. And it almost sounded like what Kanye was trying to do with Yeezus or something.
Dude,
I think he worked on
Travis
it.
Scott is to Yeezus what Cudi is to 808s.
That's I'd agree with that.
Wow.
I'm waiting on Dram's album to drop.
Oh yeah.
When I found he's from Hampton, I was like, I gotta support him no matter what.
Got to.
Yo, that Broccoli song came out and be like, this is amazing.
That beat has been stuck in my head for about 3 weeks straight.
Yo, it's so good.
I was whistling that joint in the bathroom yesterday.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yachty's hilarious
He's
because he's just himself and like they had him on a Hot 97. You know when like Ebro tries to get the young cats, he's like, all right, yeah, man. So I mean, you want to freestyle? I mean, I drop a beat or something. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna get these young guys. They can't rap.
Right.
And Yachty's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess so. He's like, you think you can do it? He's like, I don't know. It's either. He's like, look, man, it's either going to be really good or it's going to be really horrible. So he's so real about it. And he's like, oh, I don't know. And so he rapped a little bit and he got nervous. He's like, oh, I can't do it. Like a little kid.
He's like bashful.
Yeah, and like, so they weren't even hating on him because like that's just who he is. And so Peter wrote somehow because he was so like friendly, they got Rosenberg to rap. And Rosenberg was like kind of funny. And Yachty was like, man, he killed my shit. And they weren't like he was so disarming. And I think that's why people are like, oh, that Yachty, that mumble rap. But he's like, I don't care. Like he's so disarming, and it's just like, you know.
Yeah, like he's like a kid. They just have fun. I look at his videos. It's like, how can you be mad at little Yachty?
Yeah,
It's
right.
Like, his little braids with the bees on it. It's like, nah, man, let the kids.
Hey, that's also rock and roll too, man.
You're
It's
right.
Like, just completely fuck with your whole paradigm. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, your way of judging shit is like, no. Yeah, I'm just gonna like.
That's wrong.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, like,
He looked ridiculous going, oh, these new cats, you don't know nothing. He's like, I mean, I know what rap is. I'm just,
Right.
I don't want to do that.
These niggas ain't breakdancing no
to
more.
be quite honest, the best person that disarms all that is Vince Staples because he'll come. He's so
'Cause he can
he's
rap,
so
and they're not
smart
gonna
and
get
he
at
can
him.
rap. And he'll be like, yo, that shit you think was so good isn't that great. Because shit ain't really pop off until Eminem came out. And I sit back as a person, I've been saying this for 10 years.
Yeah.
Someone's finally listening. Old niggas is tired.
Yeah.
He young old nigga though.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of probably listening to similar stuff.
I've been listening to a lot of Yachty. Like,
Young Thug.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey. Harambe.
Yo, okay.
That Riri song is dope as fuck though.
Yeah. I heard Harambe and I was like, first I was like, okay, Young Thug's just silly, but I like his music. And I like part of the Barter 6, but I didn't want to like it because I'm like, he's kind of a troll and I shouldn't be supporting this. But I was like, it's good. And then I heard Harambe and I was like, I think someone in the comments on like Hot New Hip Hop was like, man, he sounded like Cookie Monster on this song. But it's such a good song. And I was like, why do I like this? And it's funny because like parts of like his vocal stuff reminds me of like early like rock, like black rock, when they were doing like vocals performances, and it feels like it was kind of rapping back around to that. Because even what was it, like Chance was performing on Ellen with 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne. Oh my God. And I realized like, I mean Chance he has like his like Mario Brothers like aesthetic with like his overall, you know, and like the three hat on. But like both Lil Wayne and 2 Chainz kind of like, I remember in like high school when like when 50 Cent dropped, I was like, all right, the like wife beater and like the do rag and this, and they were dressing like. They look more like, you know, rock stars. Like they got the bandana and like the ripped jackets. And it's funny to see like stuff kind of shift.
Yeah. 2 Chainz be on there. Also, I don't even watch Stranger Things. I don't know if I even gonna fuck with Stranger Things, but the fact that 2 Chainz is walking around in concerts with a fucking number 11 tootie on that's custom made, I'm like, I fucks with you, tootie boy. I fucks with you.
Yeah. Call Mr. Boy.
Damn, 2 Chainz. He made my goal in the next 4 years. I plan to go to Ruth Chris with pajamas on because Atlanta he has a champions. I'm like, the first time I go to Ruth Chris, I'm in pajamas.
Got you.
2 Chainz put it in the song. That's the goal.
Yes.
Also, I would like to hear Quavo's solo album. That'd be kind of dope. Actually, I mean, I like him.
So another Migos album.
The lead.
Okay, no. The Migos play off each other well, but I like what Quavo does by himself.
we know we all here for it.
Yeah, we know we're here for it.
All right, guys. I'm so glad you guys were able to come down.
Yeah, man.
Record this joint. We've been working on this for a minute.
Yeah. Coordinated.
Yeah. Next goal is to get Chris Visions.
You're like, speaking of.
Quavo.
All
right, guys.
Good looking out.
Alright, man.
On the floor.
Yes.
Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Lord's Day. Not wrestling day, all
sometimes I don't wanna feel those love. Yeah, it's like cranes in the sky. Sometimes I don't wanna feel those love. I tried to run it away. Thought in my head be feeling clearer. I traveled 70 states. Thought moving around make me feel better. I tried to let go my lover. Thought if